internet, 'tis I, that F King Guy. This week on Total Gold Zone Presents, as it's still spoopy season, I figure I'll bring you some more horror. But this week, let's mix it up a bit. Let's add a little comedy with that horror. The comedy is the film, Members Club, and the horror, well, Nona's back. Sorry. Just keep repeating. It's only a podcast. 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 Play the trailer.
What's wrong with you, stripping in your 50s?
I'm selling the company.
You ain't ready to quit yet. Are we, boys? Hen party, one dance, 800 quid each.
We're gonna go out and might as well go out with a bang. I ain't going in there.
We are the act, the wet dreams.
Yeah, smells like it.
Hello.
Notes.
I'm ready. I'm prepared. I did my research again. And by I did my research, I spent the whole of this going, I know that person. I know that person. How do I know that person?
It is one of those films. It's like everyone from British TV.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of them more... I'll get into that, actually, when we get into it. Because there are some that I'm like, they deserve way more time. And way more jobs than I thought they'd done. I thought they'd done a lot more. And apparently they hadn't. And I was incredibly disappointed.
So, hello, Nona.
Hello, sorry, I was swigging my energy drink. Hello.
This is why it's good to have videos on the site sometimes. It's like, when you're drinking.
Yeah, I know. But like, I'm also sat here with my legs up. I'm chilled. I'm ready to do another movie review.
Yeah, today's film, a little different. Some similarities with stuff we've done like recently.
Yeah.
Some. You did ask for something that was possibly going to be terrible. And this had all the makings of being terrible. I do have a soft spot for films that have these concepts, as they can surprise you occasionally.
Yeah, same. I didn't think it was terrible. I actually enjoyed it. And I was pleasantly surprised by that.
Yeah. Obviously, Cockneys vs. Zombies is being a prime example of a movie that has a dumb concept that has no reason to be good, but at the same time, it's just enjoyable.
Yeah, there's a few, I think, like Deathgasm is another one that kind of sticks out to me. Like, it has no reason to be good. And yet, somehow I have never, like, enjoyed what is essentially a horror movie, but with dildos involved more. Like, it's such a good film. Like, this is one of those films that, like, I'd end up watching it again. I would. I'd end up watching it again. I don't want to do spoilers. Jay's dad appearing. And the pub classics condom. That I fully enjoyed. I thought that was hilarious. Like, I actually went back to look at what the condom said on it, because at first I was like, no, that's not. Oh no, it is. Like, pulls it out and shows it to the camera. It's quite tongue in cheek, like the whole film. It's taking the piss out of a lot of things whilst doing it in a way that isn't not derogatory, but like I guess unfair to the people they're taking the piss out of. Like, I didn't feel like it was bordering on what's the word? It was all tongue in cheek jest. Like, I felt like, like having middle-aged men as strippers Yeah, it's what the full Monty should have been. I feel.
Yeah, this is aging full Monty clone male strippers, not Magic Mike strippers, because you see the title is members only. And I'll go into the press on this one, I guess. Wet Dreams, a middle-aged male stripper group, have hit rock bottom. After a string of disastrous gigs, the gang considers disbanding. Alan, the happy-go-lucky frontman, takes over the business and books the boys a lucrative and mysterious gig in rural Essex. But when the group arrive at the desolate club, their night quickly takes a dark turn when they find themselves tangled up in a plot to raise a murderous 16th century witch from the dead. Members Club takes you on a journey from the mundane world of middle-aged male strippers to the downright ludicrous world of taking cheese pineapple hedgehogs, whiskey drinking toads, only fans for pensioners, and Peter Andre's most outrageous role yet, leading to a hair-raising finale that has never been captured on film before. So it's written and directed by Marc Coleman. He's done a couple of films I actually quite like the look of. He did one called ManFish.
Yeah, that looks so interesting.
Humanoid sea creature washed up in Terry's bleak life. They quickly develop feelings for each other, but can man love fish? That does look, it's on my
Ridiculous.
list.
It got quite a lot of like praise as well when it came out. I did have a look into that one in particular because I think that's probably one of his like more prominent works out of everything that he's done that I could see. Yeah, like it's interesting.
Film stars a host of British talent, including Dean Kilbey, who's in ManFish, Boiling Point, and Top Boy. Perry Benson, Love, Honour and Obey, This Is England, and Benidorm. He's playing Perry Benson in this.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. He's just playing him. It was so good though. So good.
Barbara Smith from EastEnders, Call the Midwife, Casualty, and probably the Bill. Probably the Bill, because with that list of things she's been in.
True.
Juliet Cowan from Culprits, Cuckoo, Motherland, Mark Monroe, Sid and Nancy, Free Fire, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Colin. Happy New Year, Colin Burstead. That's a mouthful of a film. And a couple of other people. Yeah, Steve Oram, who's in The World's End at one point. David Schaal, Inbetweeners, EastEnders, Down Terrace. Alan Ford turns up for a bit. Who's in Cockneys vs. Zombies. Liam Noble from Peep Show. And Peter Andre.
And Mark Monero. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Monero.
He plays Rat Boy in this film. He actually, I have seen him in so many things because he was in Doctor Who, if I remember correctly as well. But he also, for me, the one that really sticks out, he played Zippy in Gimme Gimme Gimme, which is Linda's long lost son, and he was so good. Genuinely, it's a complete different contrast to this film. But he was also in one of my favorite films, which was Sid and Nancy. He was also in that too. Yeah, that's one of my favorite films. When I saw him, I was like, I recognize that guy. I think he had a long tenure as well in EastEnders, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so back in the 90s, he played a character called Steve. He was in 284 episodes.
I probably have seen him because I was watching EastEnders.
It's like 91
to
like 96, so it's like quite a while ago. But as soon as I saw him, I recognized him. Yeah, very, very funny guy. He was so funny in this.
Marc Coleman, writer director, said it's a middle-aged Magic Mike meets a British From Dusk Till Dawn, which I think sums up quite nicely.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. And I do want to say, Juliet Cowan deserves more stuff. She was the one that I was like, I swear she's been in so many things, and she just hasn't, at least from what I could. Like, I seem to remember her in so many programs because she's so fucking funny. Like, in this, she was so funny. Like, she was well, how would you describe her character? Like, she was like she's the person, I guess, that had arranged it on behalf of the what would you call them? Well, it was just the person who was trying to do the summoning, right?
The coven or the group.
Yeah,
I think it's supposed to be a coven, but they're like a group of people, just Wiccan group.
yeah. But she was there in her glittery dress, and then she turns up with a mask that she's made out of twiglets. It was perfect. It was so funny. So funny. She was so good. Had her mannerisms and stuff to it, like her whole character was just happy to be there, not realizing what she actually had to be happy to be there about. Yeah, she was so good. Absolutely my favorite. Peter Andre. Mm. I felt like that was a token casting, being honest.
Same with Alan Ford, I think was yeah, we'll get that guy in.
Yeah, the admittedly
He's not really in it, he's just a voice, isn't he, really? But
the hedgehog was pretty funny. I'll say that.
yeah, it's one of those films like it starts off with when they're doing a show in front of a big
The
screaming crowd, but they're actually doing it in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DJ Goldfish in the first few seconds, and then suddenly, yeah.
Yeah, and then you get to the backstage banter and it sets the film up quite nicely because I kind of have that I say it could be terrible. And at that point, you're still like a bit like, hmm. Then I started laughing at some of the jokes and the banter between the people.
Yeah.
What's the line? What can I say? I like them old and grieving.
Oh God. It was I don't know if it's maybe just because it's more my demographic now that I'm reaching my own middle age. Um I don't know if that was also a part of the reason why I did find it quite relatable as well. Like, because it kind of was. That sounds. I know that probably sounds really daft to say, but like, I'm nearly 38. I'm approaching my 40s, and there does come a point where you do just sort of go like, is this what my life is? Have I really reached my dreams? And like, Alan is so hell bent on getting his dreams of being like this stripper, this like world-class stripper. Yeah, that he's like given up so many other things in the meantime. And like there does come a point where you have to understand what your strengths are and just give it up and you know, find another vocation. And he doesn't. Like he just doesn't. I'll give him props for, continuing the stripper dream.
Yeah, I do like the Babe Station web camera gimmick he's got set up.
Yes, that oh God. Oh God.
If you want to talk dirty or just slag off your foreign neighbours, give us a call.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it has got that slight bleakness to it as well. Whereas these
Yeah.
guys are all pretty pathetic and are celebrating the one-off gig, and the reward is £800 each,
Yeah.
which is like that's not a lot, but they're seeing it as like a big hurrah to what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that there's a depressing note on that in terms of what the performance industry looks like, because this is still would fall under to some degree performance, right?
Mm.
And I know as somebody who used to, uh, I was a working stage performer, not stripper. I will point this out. Um, I was an actor. I used to tour and all that kind of stuff. And I remember my first job back then. I was 16 and it was 250 a week under equity at minimum. And I couldn't believe that I was making £250 a week. So I do think there's like, I mean, it's probably slightly more now because we're talking, this is back in like 2003, I think.
Mm.
Um, there is a depressing undertone of thinking like, for what you do, that's such a lot of money. And in reality, is it? Is it a lot of money?
Yeah, it does have a lot of the self-deprecating humor in that part as well.
Yeah.
And Yeah, there's just a line thrown out in the middle of it, which is just has like that bleakness to it almost. It was, I can't remember the last time I cried.
Yeah, that is
And it just gets thrown out, and they sort of look around at each other like, hmm. And they carry on with the gags, which don't
like they're
directly
just
involve in bodily functions and stuff like that. But it's just
yeah.
that one line pops up, and you go, hmm.
I mean, I can remember the last time I cried. It was yesterday. But I cry all the time. I'm a known crybaby. Like I can't remember the last time I didn't cry. But I do get it like in terms of that numbness.
Mm.
Like this is just everyday monotony. Which I think is what actually makes the whole getting the gig part kind of sad, because they clearly have been very used to either not getting booked or it just being the same thing over and over, and now they're being given what they consider to be a decent amount of money. Even down to this bit did make me laugh when they talk about how that it's a decent spread and it's just a table with a few like fucking party rings and the fucking cheese and pineapple hedgehog on it, right? Like that was not a decent spread, but they clearly had never had anyone provide them with food of any kind. Like even with the 12-year-old's birthday party, like it didn't look like they were really given anything other than just
Cake.
yeah. Yeah. So like these guys are clearly used to just being put in, laughed at, and then put back out again. And now they're kind of being put in a place where it's like, you know, we're gonna pay you well and we're gonna give you food, and as far as they're concerned, they're like, yes, we fucking made it, boys. Um, yeah. It was somewhat depressing.
It's I'm guessing you can say it's a slasher film once they get the ball rolling on it, or the witch being resurrected. It's not a spoiler because there's got to be something scary in it. It's a little ambiguous in what they can do and can't do, and it was more like a zombie slasher thing sometimes rather than a witch. But yeah, I
It
don't think it matters too much.
it reminded me of you know the film The Witches, the Roald
Mm,
Dahl adaptation. It reminded me a little of that in terms of look.
mm.
That was the bit that I think that was the only bit that I think for me kind of let it down, because it was so obviously latex. um
Again, I think this is one of those you can go, okay, fine. There's
yeah,
some
like
scenes where it
I
doesn't look
can
too
let
bad.
it pass because
Mm.
the film is literally about a bunch of fucking strippers. Like I, you know, like that's where I can let it pass. I think in any other film I'd have been like, nah, that's just completely no. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mm.
I don't know.
It wasn't played for laughs.
One of my favorite parts was a little bit later on. Again, I'm not going to spoiler it, because we get a nice 2 minutes of spoilers. But there is an amazing scene towards the end as the film's coming to its climax, involving the witch, and two of the characters. Where, to be fair, that whole suit really did work to an advantage in terms of, yeah, it added, shall we say, to the tension, but in a way that maybe I'll explain probably more in the spoilers, actually. But yeah, that was the only bit I think for me that I just was a bit like, oh,
Yeah.
and
Then
I
you've got
don't know what.
the side plot, subplot, I guess, the daughter turning up. It was kind
Yeah,
of obvious when you see it. Like, oh yeah, okay, that's going to happen, and that's not done too badly in terms of the strange relationship with the daughter.
no, I did think it got mentioned a little bit too many times.
Mm,
There's a couple of times when I didn't need them to be so pathetic over their situation. Um, but at the same time, we did kind of need the context.
Yes.
I'm getting some agreement. Um,
Cats
we
can't
we
carry pints. Come on.
we did need the context because I think otherwise it just wouldn't have made sense to the actual plot as to why she was involved. Her introduction was the only bit that I was a bit like, could we have maybe had a bit more context there? But no, it made sense. There was just a couple of times I wish they hadn't been quite so pathetic. Yeah, all in all, do you know what? I think it was good. I don't think it was horrifically bad. I didn't sit there and think, oh God, I could never watch this again. I 100% would end up watching this again. Do you know what the budget was on this film? Because that was something I was wondering.
Not a lot. I mean, in terms of settings, finding a rundown old community centre.
Oh, it's a working man's club. Every working man's club looks like that.
It was giving me flashbacks to wrestling days.
Oh,
Middle of
yeah.
nowhere. Dank. No one there.
Yeah. It was 100% a working man's club though. Like my dad, when I was growing up, he was a drummer and he used to play a lot of working man's clubs with his band. And I've been in so many. They all look exactly like that, right? They all have that depressing air of this is just where the older generation come to drink.
Big arts.
Yeah, literally. And they all are going to know each other. So, yeah. Working man's clubs are very easy to find because there's still fucking loads of them. So many.
And weirdly not closed down.
No, it's weird. I don't know how that hasn't happened. But there's one where I grew up that has been there like literally decades. My mum worked there at one point as a barmaid. And when I was born, I was put in a pushchair by the door. Like they all knew who I was. It's so bizarre. Like, and they're still there. They're still all there.
Same people?
Pretty much, yeah. And if those people aren't here anymore, the people that like sort of that from their family are probably going there now. Like it's literally generational. Yeah, it's weird. They do tend to be in like I grew up in a little village, so I think they're probably more of a village thing.
I know I know a few around my way. I live in London.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. They still exist.
It's
They
just
probably-
odd. I don't know how they've survived, especially like with the pandemic and everything. Like,
Oh, they had shut-ins all the time.
oh yeah, I can imagine that they did. But it still doesn't make sense how they've still managed to survive whilst other, businesses have really fucking struggled. I put it down to the fact that Panda Cola and stuff never goes off, so they've just had a back stock.
Okay, I recommend as well. It was concept-wise, you go, this could be amazing, this could be terrible. The fact that they had Witch as the main villain, and sometimes these films can sway towards misogynistic. Looking at Danny Dyer's Doghouse here, and which is very close to Another Word. Didn't go that route at all.
No, I agree.
It was
a retribution film, wasn't it? That's what the whole premise of it was. It was a retribution film. It was almost a revenge film, I would go as far as to say.
Cool. So we'll go to a 2-minute spoilers in a sec. Where can we find you online?
Twitter at Nonamirana. I'm still there. Probably still talking about WoW.
Until it burns. And all my stuff, totalquotezone.com. My stuff is on there. Go look at it.
Now.
Yes, now.
That is an order.
Woody will be featuring more prominently on it because I figured cat faces get views apparently.
It's true, animals do get a lot of views.
Okay, music's playing. We'll be going to 2-minute spoilers in a second. Let's go with all these members only at the start of the intro, so I have to redo that now. Welcome members club.
Do 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 do. That's Left Bank by the Novel Tones. Do 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 do.
Okay, spoilers will start in a few seconds. If you don't want the film ruined, and why would you? Because we both recommended it. You should go watch it.
True.
You should turn off now.
Into spoilers.
Into
A candelabra of dicks. That's where I'm kicking this spoiler off with. Honestly, that line did absolutely fucking crease me. And then when it was Dino, wasn't it, who came in with Alan, and they started dancing to Freak Me. They tied her to the chair, and then Dino took one for the team. This is the bit I was talking about with the two. Like when he kissed her, that must have felt awful. That latex and stuff, just would not have been fun. But that was probably one of my favorite things. However, I'd love to know who had a version of Freak Me that was that long, because it seemed to go on forever. Just stripping. What other
spoilers? One of my favorite
spoilers
dance-off endings.
It was just, do you know what? I feel like this is the only spoiler there really is. Oh, actually, no, because at the very start with Jay's dad, and I still refer to him as Jay's dad, and I imagined him still as Jay's dad because he was going dogging. And he gets like a fucking 2x4. I'm assuming up his arse. I can't be completely certain. But then, like, there's just blood splatter everywhere, and literally we see him die in the first few minutes. But he was just so good at that part. Like, I didn't know he had that in him.
I do like the very end though with the witch. It's like she loses all her powers, so she's really old. Like,
she starts pushing the chair.
I feel sorry for her when he just goes over and chokes her out.
Yeah, but the choking takes forever too. Like, it becomes so awkward, and they're all just sort of staring at him, and he's just there like, I'll have it in a minute. Like, she'll be gone in a second. It's the way she starts pushing the chair though, and like that. Absolutely, I couldn't stop laughing at that part. She's just there like squeaking across the floor.
I did get that whole bit at the end of horror films where you go, so who's going to clean up the mess? And then they hard cut to them talking to the police.
Yeah, and the police, like, admittedly, Reese, I think is how you pronounce his name, Reese Daniel. The look on his face when it was being recited back, and he's just like trying to contain his laugh. I can't decide if that was genuine or acting, because like he genuinely looked like he wanted to just burst out laughing the whole entire time. It was very funny, because I don't think I would have believed it either if someone had said that to me. Yeah, it was funny. It was funny. There's quite a few moments, I think, but the Freak Me moment and Jay's dad are probably the two that stick out for me, and the candelabra of dicks. Like, she put little crowns on them. I was sat with my partner at the time, and I said, "Would you like a crown?" And he told me no.